So coming both from a perspective of wargaming or historical board gaming as a way of examining history, right? If I play a game about the Romans or something, I'm not saying the Romans were good or bad. I just want to understand, how did the Romans fight, right? Or how did Roman society work if it's a political game. And also, it's the same posture if you're an analyst, if you're an intelligence analyst, really. Your job is not to have a position on whether something is good or bad or up or down or evil or right or left or black or white. The point is to understand it and to communicate that understanding to somebody who can make decisions, and sometimes to forecast, to project, what might happen. And so it's not really fundamentally about value judgments. And so that's my maybe natural intellectual posture towards taking on an issue that might be uncomfortable. It's consequential. It's uncomfortable because it's consequential, because these are recent events. They may even represent current or future events. So we don't want to be frivolous about it. And yet, if we're going to understand it, we have to boil it down. We have to simplify it. So in Labyrinth, for example, if what I'm trying to do is to represent, let's say, U.S. strategy between 2001 and 2009 or so mostly in the Bush administration, towards fighting terrorism at the strategic level, I can't really portray that or help anybody understand that without giving the players the options and the tools that the administration either considered or reached for and used. And so what I then need to do is present, well, what are potentially the pitfalls of those tools? What can they maybe do if they're effective? How can they hurt you if they turn out to blow up in your face or be ineffective? And then what does the other side do about that? Obviously essential in a game as a model is it's dynamic, in this case between two players. So there's the US fighting the jihadists and the jihadists fighting the US. And so I have to consider, well, how do the jihadists see the world, and what are they trying to do, and what do they think are the tactics or strategies that might work for them? And I have to offer that to the jihadist player. Every player is going to come to the game with some view. We all lived through that time. Everybody's going to come to the game with some views about how these things worked. And it's not the purpose of the game to say this is the right answer. The purpose of the game is to compare your view, a purpose for me, compare your view of those times to what's represented in the game, and then identify then concretely, what do you think here is a little bit off? You'll probably find something. On the other hand, you might say, I hadn't thought about that dynamic. I hadn't thought about the fact that if I invest as the US player in a regime change somewhere, the jihadists are also going to have to invest to fight me there, and that means they're not doing other things. That now you've seen something from another side's point of view that, again, doesn't make it good or bad, but it gives you more insight, perhaps, than you had before, into something that was a very important part of our history.